Hi, welcome back to Hit or Glitch GM Corner. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
I'm Alex.
I'm Tim.
On this episode, take a topic from the Tome of Topics.
And we discuss it.
What do you look for when making a fight?
Like a combat encounter?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do I look for?
The first thing I look for is how it's going to drive my story as a GM. What is the purpose of the fight? Now, granted, if you have players like most GMs do, you also have to account for a social interaction breaking out into a fight, or anything breaking out into a fight. Because even the most dedicated role player sometimes turns into a murder hobo.
Yeah. Yep. I've got this brand new combat ability. I just dying to use it.
When I'm making a fight, I know what I want from my story, and for most cases, I can just re-describe the monsters or whatever as what I need for that story. So I'm using the stats for, I don't know, one of those frog things. And a grung, and he's a thug in an alley or something like that. I'm using a young dragon hatchling, its stats, but I skin it as a knight. And it just works out for me. So I just look for the mechanics that I think are most interesting and what could work for the area, what makes them interesting.
Touching on this, a question that I would have for you guys, I know my answer. What, as far as when you design a fight, so are you guys, and I think I know the answer to this, at least for you, Dan. I haven't played in many of your guys' games other than on the show. So are you the type of GM that just populates the world with all different things, and hey, if you pick on someone that's way weaker, that's fine, but there's also things that are bigger that you may run into a dragon or does every encounter fit your party's level? So when they're 5th level, they're only going to be meeting CR 4 to 6 things.
So it depends on the game I'm running. That Fallout game, you wander in the wrong area, you're gonna find kaiju, and they will mop the floor with you.
I really wanted to run.
Yeah. I had it ready in my back pocket if you guys had gone that direction, but you didn't go that direction. And then, but like in the D&D 4th edition game I ran for you and Tim, that one I specifically set it up so that it was sort of concentric rings by level, to some extent, around their area, and there was a really explicit reason for that, is that I was making it a game feeling kind of setting. So it was specifically meant, it was designed after a game, so it was meant to feel like a video game. So it was designed in sort of level based zones to some extent, but they were like self-contained environments, each of them.
And you did a good job the first time we met the Tarrasque, or the first time we met an enemy that would have been too powerful for us, you made it a skill encounter to get away from it.
Yeah, and I like, at least in that game, the most fun I had in that game was when I was designing a combat. I mean, it was like, okay, what's going to live on this new island they're visiting? Okay, I know what it's going to be, what it's going to be like, and everything. And then from there, I was building counters to be level appropriate, because 4th edition was really well set up for making encounters that were based on their level, that they had you could make that slider of how difficult the fight was going to be and know what chance they had in that one. So I spent most of my time on those fights, or that game for fights, making them memorable. So making
special mechanics.
Yeah,
special terrain mechanics.
Yeah, terrain mechanics, and just cool things that were happening. Like I had one where they were fighting a fire elemental and an ice elemental at the same time, and the guys were rotating and like a yin-yang thing. And so if you were behind the ice elemental, the ground was ice and you were taking cold damage. If you were behind the fire elementals, there was flame on the ground, you were taking fire damage. And it just I just was like rotating the map constantly while they were playing, like every round. and I just had lots of really crazy fights like that where there was a whole bunch of things that weren't just kill the monster. There was like you also were trying to accomplish this to weaken the monster,
and solve the puzzle.
To
get the crystal.
Yeah. So I did a lot of things like that where it was like maybe the combat individual monsters aren't too bad, but there's more waves and waves and waves of them coming, and you got to figure out this puzzle. Once you figure out the puzzle, get the heck out of there before the waves pile up too big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my favorite combats I've ever done.
I do the CR thing right now, to an extent. For the most recent game, I ran for a group of guys at college. I kind of ignored that for a while, for a good bit of it, and just, hey, this seems interesting. This is probably going to be a little difficult for them, and I made my own monsters. I did a lot more making my own stuff than anything else, so I didn't really know the CR.
See, I'm kind of a mix. If I'm designing a fight because I want this to be a conflict, I'm going to make it CR based and based on, because I don't want to throw something at them that's
Just gonna
both not a challenge or too much of a challenge.
Yeah.
Right.
But as far as the world goes, settings, if I'm planning something to be a social encounter, you guys may meet an 18th level wizard at first level, and if you decide to fight him, well,
fuck you.
He'll kill you.
That's your own prerogative.
Yeah.
I mean, I could walk up and try and start a fight with an NFL team, but I'm going to get my ass kicked if I take them all on. That's life.
No, not one
I didn't know
NFL
how
player.
many-
The whole team.
I didn't know how many it would take to kick my ass, but I knew how many they were going to use.
And you can't outrun them either because they've got the running backs and everything.
Exactly.
So, you know.
What's your
it's
40
just-
time?
You're screwed all around. And even if you do get away from them, they've got ranged artillery, you know?
That's right. Running just boom right in the head with a football.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm a GM that has trouble with the CR system.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think it's entirely accurate.
No.
And when I've tried to set up encounters CR appropriate, it seems like the players mop the floor with it.
Yeah.
And or randomly just get their butts handed to them. I've had a couple times where it was like, it was CR appropriate according to the rules, but some mechanic they had, the players could not work around, and it just destroyed everybody.
And see, I'm the type that I'll build something, and maybe like within one or two of the CR of the party. And if it's going too one-sided either way, I'll alter the enemy stats on the fly. Oh, well, I mean, they got halfway through the hit points. I'm going to say they got all the way through, because if they try to get all the way through, he's going to kill them by the end of it, you know?
Yeah.
Or,
the only time I've done that is when I have so many opponents on the board that turns are taking forever, especially when I've got a druid player who's summoning monsters.
Oh, God.
That fight. Oh my god.
So for Dan's next game, I will be playing Circle of the Shepherd.
Okay, and then I'll play the the undead paladin, the fallen paladin. Yep, there we go.
And I'll play a
necromancer.
Conjurer.
Yeah, because I'll buff your
a necromancer, a conjurer, a circle of.
Oh god.
Okay, we have to do that then.
There's just the battlefield is just full of stuff.
Because
Well, we could do.
Then we could
do
try out Alex's mass combat rules.
There we go. We each bring our own army.
Battle of the Five Armies. D&D.
Oh man! How many people were involved in the fight? Well, people? 5. There were still 5 armies.
Oh man, we got.
And what was on the other side? Some really, really screwed kobolds.
Very confused lizard men.
There's skeletons and there's monsters.
Because that would be like so epic. You see like a party of 4 guys walking in, there's an army on their side, and they're like, "We got this." They're screwed. There's only 4 of them, and they're like, and just armies rise from the ground.
Or we could do Pathfinder and just all play summoners.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you guys do? Comment below. Tell us what you guys like to look for in your combats. If you have a question for the Tome of Topics, put it in there and we will add it to the tome.
See you next time.